Welcome to The Source. I'm Mark Bonokoski, national editorial writer for Sun Media, filling in again today for Ezra Levant, who should be back aboard on Monday. Now, I may be wrong, but the last time I saw Nikki Holland, one of those hard-working party operatives that every campaign would like to have a dozen of, she was heading into a Toronto police station, swinging a freshly pressed gray suit, blue shirt, and a tie, so her longtime boss and friend, former Ontario Attorney General Michael Bryant, could meet the press looking spiffy. And he did. But the guy on the bicycle that hit him didn't. He was dead and he was in the morgue. But don't worry, folks, it all worked out for Bryant. The bike rider was a druggie and a bad-tempered idiot who got what was coming to him, but not necessarily what he deserved. And Bryant got acquitted and the charges dropped. That's how the system works. Now, I only bring this up because there's only the last time I even heard or saw, that was the last time I even heard or saw Nikki Holland's name, until this morning. In fact, when I picked up this morning's newspaper, there she was on page 1 of the Toronto Sun, being accused of buying votes with cigarettes and even admitting to it. Well, sort of admitting to it. First, we had her on audio tape so she couldn't deny saying what she said during a training session with young recruits about fundraising and connecting with voters. For this is what Nikki Holland said. I have done crazy things like, if anyone repeats this, I'll deny it until the cows come home. But I have gone to a shelter in the riding of St. Paul's with a carton of smokes, and I said to them, I'll give them to you after your vote. Yes, she said, I've done that. Let's take a listen.
But I have done crazy things, like, and if anyone repeats this, I'll deny it until the house comes home. I have gone to a shelter in riding St. Paul's with a carton of smokes and said, I'll give you them after you vote. I have done that. And perhaps some more ones. But they already were smokers. It's not like I was
When confronted with the audio proof, Ms. Holland backtracked and said she had never done such a horrible and illegal thing, but that she was just repeating stories from other camps and applying it to herself to rally the crowd. So who did these things? Mulrooney's people in the NDP, she said. Well, of course they would. Holland also expressed regret for not offering bribes to a voter in a close election in the riding of Thornhill in 1999.
I lost the campaign by 343 votes. That's 1.5 votes per poll in 1999 in Thornhill. Shitty way to go down. And I had $40,000 left in the bank. Oh. Now, I also couldn't spend another penny because I was at my max. I probably could have been more creative. Yeah. But I would have given 346 people $100 each man.
Yeah. This morning, before coming to this studio, I was lying on my stomach on a clinical gurney getting 36 stitches removed from my back. Yes, the piece of shrapnel that had torn into my back while covering the war in Rhodesia had finally moved away from my spine enough for the surgeons to remove it safely, hence the 36 stitches. Now, there is some truth to this story. I did have 36 stitches removed from my back this morning, and I did cover the war in Rhodesia where a bomb had gone off to within close proximity to myself. But I didn't get any shrapnel in my back. But it's a good story, isn't it? It's a good story like Nikki Holland giving cigarettes to bums at a local shelter to get them to go out and vote Liberal. That was her war story, and she obviously liked telling it. I like telling mine too to young journalists, but I don't let them go away thinking that it's true. The new scar on my back, however, will one day be the result of getting stabbed in the back during a mugging in Moscow back in the early 90s. I'm just waiting for the right sucker to tell it to. There are a lot of war stories when it comes to politics, which is one of the reasons politics is called a blood sport. Once upon a time, all bars and liquor stores had to be closed in Canada on election day, all to prevent parties from buying votes the old-fashioned way. Jack Daniels was one hell of a recruiter back in that times. An old political war room buddy of mine told me last night that the cost of a vote in Cape Breton used to be a Mickey a rye and or a yard of gravel for the driveway. Those things did happen. It was often how the game was played in particular ridings. But let's get back to Nikki Holland, the repentant smoke giver-outer, who is now playing the usual political blame game that Liberals don't dare do such things, but the NDP would, and particularly the Tories under Brian Mulroney. She is blowing smoke up our asses. All political parties at one time or another have been guilty of buying our votes in one way or another. If not cigarettes, it's whiskey. If it's not whiskey, it's a ride to the polls, or a birthday card, or a thank you note. Hey, if someone wants to dump 9 or 10 yards of fresh gravel on my driveway like they used to do at Cape Breton, I'll vote Tory too, but I won't tell you that I'm changing my vote, if you know what I mean. I won't be changing it. So in trying to squirm out of her embarrassing situation, Ms. Holland throws a brickbat at the NDP and the Mulroneyites without coming up with any facts. But to be honest, neither could I. Now, I know when Mulroney bumped off Joe Clark for the leadership of the Progressive Conservatives, a lot of privately rented jets flew delegates into Winnipeg. Who paid for them? Well, no one asked then, and so who am I to ask now? But I will tell you this, where there is smoke, there's usually fire, and to think that Dalton McGuinness's Liberals would be holier than thou is a bit of a reach. If they were able to buy votes with lies, then why not a pack of smokes? It's all very hypothetical of them, of course, seeing as how the Liberals brought down most of their draconian anti-smoking laws in the province. So there's another lie. But a vote's a vote, right? And by a week tomorrow, we'll all know how the story ends. In the meantime, smoke them if you got them, and vote often.